Welcome to a Nothing from Nothing production. Hello, everybody. This is Mark Christopher with Bill Turley, and this is the Junction podcast, a podcast about growing up in Brooklyn in the 1970s and 80s. We're hoping to protect the names of the innocent as well as the extremely guilty, and there were plenty of those. Well, here goes. Welcome back to the Brooklyn Junction and a special episode with the ultimate arbitrators. We are here to decide who will be the next pope. And the conclave will begin shortly. We're all Catholic. Francis just died. We should be respectful. But we're here to do our second mock draft, the 2025 mock draft, and we're all excited to put our picks out there. And what I'd like to do is I'll give an introduction. We have our returning champion, Craig Perry. Craig Perry, why don't you say hello? Peace and love.
Hello.
Hello. And
Let's
we
just
have
say
David.
hello.
We have David's eye.
We have David's head.
We have David's eyeglasses. David's eyeglasses. Say hello.
What's going on? I'm here.
All right, David. How are you, David? Good to see you again. Good to see your forehead. Really good to see your forehead. All right, and then
All right. I'll straighten this
Dave
out.
is a fan
Here we go.
favorite. He often gets letters about his forehead. But anyways, good to see David, who, by the way, is down to 182 pounds. He's been doing Ozempic. Doing Ozempic. Oh yeah. Ozempic. We know you didn't do it all along. He actually is.
Not quite that skinny.
He actually has been dieting. Yeah, but he's doing good, man. He's doing good. I got to figure out how to, because we're both. I'm a what do they call it? A snowbird, and he's a full timer up there in Ruskin, Florida. All right, and we also have our new contestant, John McDermott. John, David, and I work together, and Sullivan Cromwell is messengers, and John often lent me money so I could buy albums on Fridays. So, John, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I'm doing the opposite of Dave. The way he's losing, I'm gaining.
So, John is founder of the. He's the president and founding member of the Micro Penises of America.
That's me.
The former president Craig Perry's here.
Are you still president of the Annie fan club? Like, I think you are, right?
Yeah. Me? No, I'm a participating member of the Annie fan club, and that's a private joke. All right, we're going to start this draft. Couple of observations. Some people call it a non-event, but for some reason, I find it to be super exciting, and I enjoy it. And it's also because my teams have kind of sucked. It's been, hey, how are we going to improve them through the draft? So it becomes an obsession. It's not just me. I think the NFL knows how to monetize anything. And with the NFL moving it from state to state, I think that's pretty interesting because now it's in Green Bay. And I'll make a draft one day. I don't know when. I'll probably go sit in the Giants area with Craig at some point and David, or the Jets area. Full disclosure, I'm a cheater. I'm a Giants-Jets fan, but I've really been hating on the Jets of late. So, and John also has a second team, and it's the Carolina Panthers. So, with this, we're going to get started. And so the first pick of the 2025 NFL mock draft is the Tennessee Titans. And the card is in. I am going to choose their quarterback, Cam Ward. Clearly, Cam Ward is the consensus number one quarterback in the draft, and he was really productive. I watched him a bit in Miami last year, and he has the raw talent. Tennessee seems to be setting this up. This is like the most predictable pick in a very long time. So Tennessee will go with Cam Ward. All right, Dave, you're up with the second pick. So yeah.
This is where it gets interesting.
with the Cleveland Browns on the clock, we're going to take Travis Hunter, dual threat wide receiver cornerback from Colorado.
Okay, I'm happy with that pick.
That's all I needed.
There's no way to be unhappy with the Giants situation, right? Because they were going to end up with a great player either way. So, Craig, take it away.
So if you guys remember the old Giants GM Ernie Accorsi,
Yes, I do.
Yes.
and he would say, you never have too many pass rushers. And how did they beat Tom Brady in that Super Bowl? You got to rough the passer. You had Strahan, you had Tuck, you had OC,
Brady
right?
Bunch.
You had that great line,
The
right?
key, they only rush 4. They never
I
had
know.
the blitz.
Right. When you can get to the quarterback with 4, you make everybody else better. And I got to tell you, I watched that bowl game with Abdul Carter, and what he did with one shoulder was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And with the possibility of Thibodeau maybe getting traded in this draft, which is a possibility, or not picking up his 5th-year option and losing out on him next year, uh, it just makes all the sense in the world to beef up the line, get after the quarterback when you got to deal with Jaden Daniels. Pick's got to be Abdul Carter. Never have enough pass rush.
Why I totally agree with you is that I think that they're in the toughest division of football. Is there any tougher division? I don't think so, right? I mean, the NFC Championship game last year was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins, right? Two teams in their division. The Cowboys always play them rough. They have to over.
And that is the Commanders now. Redskins are no longer.
Say that again, Dave.
Commanders.
I suspect we're going to see it called the Redskins again one day. Just saying.
All right.
It may happen.
I'm sorry, the Commanders. But those two were in the NFC Championship game. It's going to take me about a decade before I start calling them the Commanders. It's a problem. But anyways, my point is the only thing is they have to be overwhelming in a position area. And to me, being overwhelming in the front 4 and Abdul Carter, I think it's an excellent pick. I can't argue with that at all.
I mean, let me tell you, not going to lie to you. If Carter wasn't there, Mason Graham is a very, very, very intriguing pick. Putting him next to Dexter, you're not running up the middle. That's what I can guarantee you that. But you got to hit Jaden Daniels, though. If you don't hit him, you ain't beating him.
Mark and I talked about the Mason. Mark and I talked about the Mason Graham pick a number of times, but I have to agree. I think Abdul Carter is the right pick there, just because of you talked about the Giants beating the Patriots years ago, but just this last Super Bowl was a great example of that. Mahomes is a great quarterback, but the Eagles just nullified him with the 4-man pass rush. They were just awesome. I'm not an Eagles fan.
Still wins championships.
Played a great game.
Definitely. Maybe this will make up for Gettleman telling Michael Parsons that he was going to draft him. And then he wound up trading out of that pick.
Yeah. That is definitely and listen, Dabo spent a lot of time with Carter. A lot of time. So I have a feeling he's going to be the guy.
I still don't see them winning more than 7 or 8 games, but I don't know if it'll be enough to save, Daboll's job. I hope it is. I still like Dable. I'm a little concerned about Shane. I think his draft 2 years ago sucked. His draft last year wasn't bad. Now they've got
His
the
first
win under
draft
their
on
feet.
paper is looking abysmal.
The second draft isn't looking much better.
No.
Yeah.
No, but that first one, I mean, you got 2 first, number 5 and number 7, and you miss on both of them. That sets you back, man. And that's why I think there's a mandate here with John Mara that you're not taking a quarterback in the first round and you need to go get a veteran because you can't repeat the sins of the past and draft your first round quarterback and then fire your coach and saddle the new coach like they did with Daniel Jones. You can't do that again. So that's why I think you'll see 3rd round, you'll see a quarterback get taken you know, um, but not. I did. Barra's not letting him take one of them. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
I'm under the opinion that they're going to have to trade up if they want to get one of those quarterbacks. They're all
Yeah.
going to go early. They're all
And I've enabled
overdrafted.
trades.
Cam Ward was my guy. I wanted Cam Ward all year. I think he's going to be the real deal. Personally, that's why that Indy game was killing me watching Drew Lock look like Johnny Unitas. Like, really? At this
Yeah.
point, just lose. No, we need to win. No, just lose. We would have had the first pick in the draft. No
That was
issues.
their fault. They were had a possibility of making the playoffs and lost
I-
that game.
Dumbfounded, man. Dumbfounded. But don't worry, man. We got Mr. What does he call himself? Mr. Unlimited now. We got Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, as he likes to call
Mr.
himself.
Unlimited. You got to be unlimited. You got to have a thought process of being unlimited.
Well, the
So if people
quarterback room's
ask you-
improved, but I don't think they've improved in any way that I think that division is too tough right now. They're probably a couple of years away, but I mean, they will, have to have bookend pass rushers, a strong interior defense. I mean, I like that unit. And we'll see. I mean, they whiffed on Daniel Jones.
Just remember, Mark, the horse is in the stable and he's ready for battle. Jameis Winston. Please tell me you guys seen that. Please tell me you've seen that interview. If the horse is in the stable and ready for battle.
Pick six, James.
Pick six, James.
So symmetrical.
Yeah.
Right, you got your wrist. What are your wrists on the bottom half? Dang.
I think they should play Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets.
Nah, DeVito's not going to. He's going to be practice squad. They're going to pick a quarterback. They're going to get McDonald or McCord in the third round. That's my suggestion.
All right, let's move to the fourth pick. And remember the rule for every Patriots pick, because I hate them, is punters. So you have to pick a punter.
Punter kicker.
I'm
Or
only
long
kidding,
snapper.
John. Pick a long snapper. John,
Long
you have to
snapper.
pick a water boy, a long snapper, or a punter.
Well, I hate I'm a Jet fan, so I hate the Patriots as well. And I didn't see Adam Sandler on the list, so I can't get the water boy. Um, but I'm gonna, and I don't know any punters off the top of my head, so I'm gonna do what everybody in the mock drafts I've seen, and the Patriots need just about everybody but a quarterback at this point, and I'm gonna pick Will Campbell because that's what all the mock drafters that I've been reading have been saying that the Patriots are going to go for the
They have no
offensive
line.
lineman
They
and
need
the
line.
offensive tackle, and I hope he's a bust.
He looks
I
like a
hope
Patriot.
he wins lotto and decides not to play anymore. I'd
I
rather,
have a feeling he's not going to be, but
well. All right, so we're moving over to the Jaguars, and that's my pick. And I am so, I so want the Giants to get the Jets to get Mason Graham, but you got to do the right thing. I can't imagine them passing. They don't have anybody on defense. They need help across the board. They don't have cornerbacks. They definitely don't have good tackles. They do have an offensive minded coach now, the new guy. He might go with Ashton Genty, but I would be really surprised if he did. So I'm going to go with Mason Graham, which is disappointing, but it is what it is. It's sort of like when Trevor Lawrence went that year, and I don't think they're going to make any silly choice to go full on fence. So that's the choice.
I am very disappointed.
Okay. The next pick is David.
And I'll hush.
Well, the Raiders are on the board here. They could go running back, wide receiver. I've heard rumors that they could go quarterback and take in Shador Sanders, but I'm going to go with the running back and Aston Genie at the number 6 pick.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
going there. And I'm glad I want that to happen. He can't go to Dallas. I don't want him in Dallas. He's scary.
I agree. I really don't want him going to Dallas either.
So the thing I would suggest on that, and David, please mute. And we got to fix that, David. You got to look where the second, yeah, look where you have this second output coming from. But don't go crazy if you can't figure it out. I'll just edit this portion out. Um, the thing about Ash, you've got a 73-year-old coach, right? Isn't that who's
Pretty
coaching the
much.
Raiders now? Is it
Not Gruden, is he?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll, right? Yes. I don't know
Pete
why
Carroll, you got a 73-year-old coach. And then besides the 73-year-old coach, you've got the Tom Brady has got partial owner, as I understand it. I just think the 73-year-old coach is in for win, and he's got Geno Smith, so that's a good pick. All right, number 7, the Jets, and I
Oh,
believe that's John.
okay. I'm a big fan of trading down and getting extra picks, but the Jets really do need a right tackle, and Amon Mambo is available still, so I'm going to go with Amon Mambo for the Jets at right tackle.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what
The
the draft's
guy's
all about.
numbers were off the charts. He's been a starter for multiple years. I know it's a small school. Uh, I forget what the school is. I thought it was West Virginia, but I'm not sure. But he is always graded out well, and I think he'll be a good acquisition for the Jets at this
He's
point.
out of Missouri.
He's out of Missouri. Okay,
Missouri.
not
I'm
really
actually
a small
shocked you,
school.
as a Jet fan, you didn't go Tyler Warren.
I'm
That's
not
what all
a
the
big
fans.
fan of using such a high draft pick on the tight end. Um, the only one that's really worked out that's been picked up that high has been Brock Bowers, and that's only been 1 year. We've had a number of uh, tight ends go early, and they just haven't worked out. So I think you could do well with tight ends in the third or fourth round.
Well, didn't they have that bust? Like they traded for a tight end in the early 2000s who broke his leg, and then they had Kyle Brady
What,
back in the
Anthony
90s,
Becht?
right?
I think it was Anthony Becht, right?
Anthony
Yeah,
Beck
but
was
that
another
didn't
one.
expect a
Anthony
lot
Becht.
from. He was the 4th pick in that. They got the
That was a
pass rush.
classic Jet draft.
Yeah. Well, the tight ends and the Jets in the first round is like a history. That famous video of the
Right.
guy freaking out that
Yep.
with the hair on his back is because
Mhm.
they passed on Warren Sapp. They passed on Warren Sapp. You know.
The New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady. Ladies and gentlemen, our first real upset, I think, at this point in the draft.
So pick number 8 is back to John. I did John twice because he's a Carolina Panthers fan. So John, take the next pick.
Yeah, so I'm a Carolina Panther fan, so I moved down to Charlotte, so I root for both the Jets and the local Panthers. And they had the worst defense in the history of the NFL
Oh, yeah.
last year. They don't have a good team. Their offense could use some help too, but their defense is just absolutely awful. Everyone down here is talking about Jalen Walker. We definitely need an edge, a guy who can rush the passes. And so I'm going to pick Jalen Walker. He's had he had a great year at Georgia, and he could play all downs. He could play more than just the edge rusher. He could play the middle linebacker position as well. Um, I think he'd be a great addition for the
I
Panthers at
would
this
say
point.
the games I watched compared to years prior, he's good. I didn't get the wow factor that I got when I watched Ed Carter. Like, not even close. Like, Carter is Micah Parsons. That's how I look at it. And then faster. Not as thick, but faster. Like, what's nice about Carter is he can cover tight ends. When you can get a guy who can rush the passer, but then run downfield with Brock Bowers step for step, that's a nice package to have.
With the New Orleans Saints, and I looked at this like 5 times, and after the David Carr, is it David Carr, right?
Yep.
Injury. I mean, who do they have throwing
Mhm.
the ball, right?
And you got a new head coach, right? What's
Yes,
his face is down
and
there now, right?
I think much to the chagrin, I don't know how excited they might be of uh of the Pittsburgh
Steelers.
Steelers, right? I was talking to the San Diego Pilots. Remember, I was the only San Diego Pilot fan. They existed for 1 year in 1969. No,
No.
um, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would have to say that I struggled with this, but I'm going to go with Shador Sanders and take him
Yep.
off the board.
That's
What
the
do you
right
guys
pick.
think of that pick?
I think
It's
that
the right
makes
pick.
sense for the Saints. The Saints have got, even with David Carr, he's coming to the end of his career. They got to have something to replace him with, and it makes sense for the Saints.
So you are up, and you've got the Chicago Bears. Just a general question before you go into the pick there. Um, I found that they might have they get all those picks from Carolina? I mean, shouldn't they be in a powerhouse situation right now? Was it Caleb Williams didn't deliver?
Got sacked every other.
Um, they made a lot of moves in free agency, especially to improve the offensive line. Ben Johnson coming from Detroit, and they have a really great line. So I think that's been where his focus has been, is improving the line, and also protecting the quarterback. He wants Caleb Williams to have the best opportunity to show what he can do. And if you're playing behind a bad line, you're not going to have much of an opportunity. So I wrestled with this a little bit, but I like Tyler Warren for it because that's another
Yep.
offensive weapon for Caleb Williams to
Yep.
move this offense along. And that's what they need. He was the first pick in the draft. This guy's got to work for them. They took Justin Fields and didn't work. So this guy don't work. They're probably not going to be keeping their jobs.
I like that pick. I like
That's
that
a
pick.
great pick for Caleb Williams to have. Guy can
Good.
block. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. He runs routes like Kelsey, and he's a team guy too. Penn State kids
Now,
loved
here's the
him.
thing. He has 1 year of production. 'Cause I investigated him before I knew if I was going to get the Jets or not. And they wanted him for the Jets. Like, all the Jet boards were like, Tyler Warren, Tyler Warren, Tyler Warren. And I'm like, you know, not sold.
I, I, I thought Pitt McMillan might be a good choice for the Bears, but Tyler Warren's
I
also.
rolled with Dunze last year, so I don't know if you want to go.
So the
another wide
49ers
receiver.
are up. Yeah, you're on that pick, Craig.
All right, so that's easy because they got a ton of defensive needs, and one of them is definitely a corner. And I'm going to sound like a homer here after what I told you earlier. But they got to take the corner, Will Johnson, out of Michigan.
Good pick.
They need a corner bad. So Will Campbell, he's a stud. He plays the part, looks the part. He's going to be in the league 10, 12 years, no doubt. So
you're saying the cornerback Will Campbell or Will Johnson?
No, Will Johnson. Will Johnson out of Michigan.
Okay. Now here comes up the only team I hate more than the Patriots, and that's the Cowboys. So maybe we should do a punter for them, but no, we are we are the ultimate arbitrators, right? So we determine in football heaven who gets whom. So now, but all right, I think this one goes to John McDermott, who's a huge Cowboys fan.
Yeah. One of the things the Cowboys always like to have is wide receivers, and Jerry Jones likes to go after the shiny little rings. And Ted McMillan is still available, so I'm going to choose Ted McMillan for the Cowboys.
And inexplicably, for the 12th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys pick kicker Ben Sauls out of Pittsburgh.
No, we can't do that. We'll lose all our credibility.
All right, so I got to ask you, why McMillan over Golden?
I actually like Golden more than McMillan, but this is the Cowboys, so let the Cowboys have McMillan.
McMillan, he's like Mike Evans, right? He's not the world beater, the fastest guy, but he's got range, he's big,
Right.
boxes people out, he
I
catches
like
with his
Golden because
hand.
he can run the routes and he's got more speed.
Golden is fast as
Yeah,
hell, man. You watch that combine? That combine, he looked
yeah.
good. He
But
looked good.
this is the Cowboys. McMillan's up there. Let's get him off the board.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is the thing. Did you see that video? Which I don't think they should hold against him, but like the Cowboys get guys with videos. The one guy that was in the gas mask smoking pot, and now this guy they asked him while he's an 18-year-old eating lunch out of the cafeteria in college. And they said, so what do you do with your spare time? You look at tape? He says, no, I don't look at any tape. I don't look at any tape. So that spread around all over. And, I was like, you got to give the kid a break. I think he was
I
17,
I
you
wouldn't
know?
put much I wouldn't put much credit into that, or because he's 18. Like you said, Mark, he's an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
When he's, I'm sure he didn't do that while he was like his 3 years or in college. He he has had great seasons in college, and he's a big guy. He's a specimen.
He's big dude.
So
He's big dude.
I don't think anybody should take that into consideration at all.
So I actually down here in Florida listen occasionally to like a Dolphin stadium, and everybody's bitching and wanting, which is ironic because it comes up pretty quick. They really got to get an O line. They got to get an O line. Now I don't think they're ever going to win with Tua, right? I don't think their coach is that bad, but I don't think they're ever going to win with Tua. And somehow they just screw things up. I mean, they're not as perennially as stupid as the Jets. They did, that old boat incident with Brian forgot the last guy's Poles, maybe the guy that the coach they fired, was Flores. That's like an embarrassment, to be in that
Flores,
situation. I think the owners want. He sounds like he's almost as big an asshole um as Woody Johnson.
as Mark Christopher.
Like he can't be in a league of assholedom as me. You know?
He said,
Yeah,
"Have
yeah,
some
yeah,
fun with
yeah.
it." Come
He's
on.
I'm gonna do Pee Wee Herman. I know you are, but what am I?
You are the one of mine. No, you are the one of mine. No, you are the one of mine.
So the deal is,
No, I'm not.
he's
You are.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Kelvin Banks. I think that's their best shot right there. And I hope that Kelvin Banks lives a wonderful life but produces nothing for the Dolphins. Okay, we've got the
Like I
Colts.
said, Mark, I hate the Dolphins, but I think that's a good pick for the Dolphins. They need a line bad.
Yeah. All right, we've got Dave Robinson, Dave Audio Man Robinson.
Yes, it is. And we have the Indianapolis Colts. They could use a tight end, hold on. They're probably going to need a quarterback eventually, but they need a tight end. I'm going to give them one. Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. Tyler Waller is gone already.
He's good. He's good.
He actually is good. Some people say he's
very
better
good.
than Tyler Warwick.
I think Warren's got the edge on him, blocking wise.
Yeah, he's more of a receiver,
Yeah.
not as much of a blocker.
Yeah. Loveland, no. Listen, I watched a lot of Michigan. He had a bunch of drops too in some key spots, so that kind of hurt him a little bit.
So now next up is Craig.
Yeah, what am I picking?
And
I
it's the
can't see what's
Atlanta
up next year.
Falcons. What are they going to do with
Falcons.
their quarterback situation?
You might see him get traded Thursday night.
Yeah, what do you think, to the Steelers? But are they
Good
really going to
chance.
do anything with, I don't think they can do anything with, I think I wonder what the hell the Steelers are going to do. This might be, but we'll get to the Steelers when we get to the Steelers. The Falcons,
Falcons need corner. They need a corner. So the best one on the board right now, and I know they've done some work on this guy from what I saw was Jade Barron, corner from Texas. I like this kid too. Reminds me a little bit of having a brain fart, guys. The guy the Giants drafted from Kentucky last year. I'm having a brain fart. The slot corner. There you go. I don't know. Just watching his game tape one night on NFL Network. Just I see a Drew Phillips in there and a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little more twitchy. But that's a good pick for them. They need a corner.
See, we're in that middle of the draft. Like these are teams that I love football that I wouldn't even watch on TV.
Like
You know,
Cardinals.
I would watch like the Colts, the Falcons, and the Cardinals, and I would watch the Bengals because Burrows is amazing. But these teams are like kind of like those boring teams that today's special Monday Night Football is the Colts versus the Falcons. Maybe I'd be interested in the Falcons a little, but I just find the Colts. I'd rather watch the Munsters go to Gilligan's Island. Anybody ever see that movie? It's a great movie.
The
The
Munsters
Munsters get Gilligan
go
and
to
his crew
Gilligan's
off the
Island.
island. It's really, really cool. All right, so Arizona Cardinals, we're turning
Never
this
heard
over
of them.
to John McDermott.
All right, the Cardinals, I don't know a lot about the Cardinals. The little bit of research I've done on them, they need offensive line, edge, and wide receiver. And you got a really good wide receiver in Matthew Golden available right now. And you got Mike Green, who comes from a small school, but is also has some put up some amazing numbers, and I've read great things about him. But I'm going to go with Matthew Golden on his pick. I just really like Matthew Golden's speed. You can't coach speed, and I think he'll help out Kyler Murray um, a great deal.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a
for
good
Penix,
pick.
that's a good pick. Not Penix,
So
I'm
in
sorry,
terms of
for Murray.
so this is a question I have. I mean, obviously they've got great receivers there with the Bengals, and I should have put Bengals in that group. I have watched some of Burrow's games, and I mean he's astonishing. I love that kind of cocky clip where he literally is listening to some loud rap, and it's good. It's good. It's like a good tune, and he does this thing where he turns around, spins, and smiles at the camera, and the ball goes 40 yards down, like on a rope, right to the receiver, and obviously that's just a showmanship kind of thing. But I went, man, that guy's cool. I admire him. I think it's great. He's a cocky. He's got that young face, even though he entered football late, and he's got great receivers to throw to now. But the problem is I think his O line kind of got degraded, and they didn't put any money into the defense. That's not a bad idea. Well,
I
I'm
wouldn't
going to do
get rid of
Shamar
him.
Stewart. I thought about getting anybody on the O line, but I looked at this draft and
Stewart's a
been
solid pick.
watching a lot. Right there are no O line guys like in like the third round that are worth a damn. You got Antonio Ursary in the second round, perhaps, but people are now all the O line guys are moving up into these first round prognostications.
You,
All right,
you
we
still
have
got Simmons from Ohio State. He was hurt last year, but he was coming into last year. He was rated number one in the offensive line on the tackle group. So you still
yeah.
got Simmons around.
All right, so we have the Seattle Seahawks with David Robinson. I called you Robertson by mistake. Sorry about that. You're on the mute. You're on the clock, Dick. Okay, I saw
He's
him.
good. He's good. Might be a little high for him, but he's good. He could play a couple spots on the line too. Did you watch him at the Senior Bowl? He dominated. He dominated people, like mauled them. Uh, that hurt.
I
That
saw
definitely
some
will
of his
get that
clips.
day got him into the first round for sure.
Yeah, my sense is he isn't going to make it into the second round for either one of my teams, and I was hoping that he would. Okay, now we have
He
the.
might have been my pick for the Giants in the second round.
That's what I was thinking. Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Craig.
All right. Hold on a second. Let me go to my notes that I made here. And so they have some issues at the mic and on the edge. And when you look at one of the more top-rated players for the mic position, let's see here. Man,
You must
I
mute,
like
Dave.
this kid too. Jihad Campbell.
Ooh.
They need help with the mic.
Okay. I should get interested in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since they're the closest team, but I just can't get into them. All right, so number 20, I think that's me, right? No, that's
that's
John.
me.
Denver
That's me.
Broncos. Denver Broncos.
I like Craig's last pick, Jihad Campbell. He was rated further down on the list, but I think he had a great season in Alabama. Good pick on
He
that
did.
one.
And it fits
Yeah.
the scheme and it fits the need, and he's not going to last much longer
Yeah.
than this pick.
Well, you know what
Maybe
a lot of
couple
people
more.
said? There's three great players. I've heard this from Mel Kiper and from other people, that there's three really great players, and then everybody else from like 4 on to like 40 are all roughly similar in talent. Now, I don't know if that's true, but they said
I
that.
had heard anywhere from 10 to 32, anybody can swap spots. From what I was watching the other night.
I've read that a lot too.
10 to 32, guy at 10 can easily go 32. A guy at 32 can easily go 10. If a team is in love with them and have a need. So
It's interesting. Well, who's throwing the ball for the Broncos? Who's the quarterback?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. Yeah.
Yep. It's a surprise. I laughed when they picked him last year. And
He was the last
was
guy
I
standing
wrong?
because McCarthy went. Everybody went, right? Like all the quarterbacks went last year. And
Yep.
he was the last guy in that group, that original group.
I laughed at two of them, Michael Penix and Bo Nix. And I was definitely wrong on Bo Nix, and Michael Penix is showing that he can play too.
Funny thing is, I followed a lot of Bo Nix, and I loved him in college, and I was getting laughed at by people. And they're like, he's too old. He's not going to, and what does the guy go out there and do? He played just as good as Jaden Daniels. Like, he's right there. You go look at the stats. They're right there, neck and neck.
Wow.
But just a little drama for you. Just posted not long ago today. It looks like the Denver Broncos are single-handedly trying to add some drama to the first round of the draft. With just a few days to go, they have been exactly 0 trades involving a first-round pick this year, but it looks like they may trade their pick. And they might want to trade up. So they're telegraphing their draft a little bit.
Well, what are they looking for? If they've got a quarterback, why would they be trading up just to get one of the blue chip guys?
Yeah, I don't
Wide
know. Maybe there's a
receiver.
receiver. Maybe one of the receivers that are there. Yeah. They can definitely go receiver.
But
They do need a D tackle.
right.
There's
That's
a
why
beast
I think
sitting
Derek
there.
Harmon is the man for them.
We all know who it is.
He's
Who?
he's a monster in the middle. So my pick for the
Which one? I'm
for the
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Broncos is going to be Derek Harmon.
He's angry, dude. I was watching his tape yesterday, actually. We can't hear you. You got pull your mic up, Mark.
Don't get too far away. You can't hear you.
All right, too far away from your mic. Mark. Your mic. There you go.
It's our first bad pick of the draft. I'm telling you, know what you're talking about, John. That's a total mistake. Denver needs a outfielder. No, I'm just kidding. All right. All right, let's go. I think I'm next with one of the tough decisions, right? Am I next? Yes, I
Yeah,
am,
scroll
right?
that screen
With
so you can see what's going on here.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now this I might yeah, the issue we
I think
have with the Pittsburgh
this could be the shock pick of the draft right here, guys. I got a feeling.
well, you're thinking Joshua Dart?
Nope.
Say that again?
His name is Jackson, not Joshua.
Jackson Dart, whatever. I know his brother Joshua in Bible school. And there's Jalen Milroe, right? Right? Isn't that do I got him? Right?
Who do they play twice a year?
Well, they play the Browns twice
They
a
see
year.
what a guy like this can do. Give it a little time, little time. But that would be incredibly intriguing if they picked him.
The thing is, if there's a trade up, it's going to be the Browns. I mean, right now in
Well,
this,
the
the
Giants.
Browns might trade into this area. Obviously not with the Steelers. But I think the Giants might trade up to get the quarterback. If they got a quarterback and Abdul Carter in the first round, that's a home run. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I think we're going to have to go to Jackson Dart here. That's the pick, Jackson Dart.
I love how
What do you
everybody's
guys
just
think?
all the Jet fans are like, he's Zach Wilson. He's Zach Wilson. That's all the Jet fans see. Zach Wilson.
He's probably not as good as Zach Wilson. I'm not a Steelers hater. I kind of admire. I love Tomlin, right? But I mean, that's a pick six. I mean, bottom line, it's a tough choice because they need somebody, right? I mean, who do they have? Who do they have right now? They have Randolph. Who do they have quarterbacking? I forgot his name.
Nobody.
Willis.
Mason Rudolph.
They have
is back
somebody.
there.
Rudolph or something. Yeah. I mean, they can't be waiting on Aaron Rodgers. That's like putting your entire organization at risk. And if they're looking maybe Kirk Cousins in a deal, right? I mean, it's really like if they go into the season with and it's just the rookie here and that and I mean, and what if I'm surprised Tomlin's in this situation. Because he's such a good coach. But he's in that permanent kind of middle zone where he gets to the playoffs every year and gets knocked off in the first round.
Yep.
He's the Aaron Judge of football. Great in the season, sucks in the playoffs.
I agree with you on this. I'm not a huge Steeler fan, but you gotta admire the organization. They're always good.
I mean, you could be a happy Steelers fan. You only got one Super Bowl in the last. Yeah. Right. So the deal is to me that I'm admire the organization. I like Tomlin, right? But I think that to be sitting at this spot right now they're never good enough to get into the premier. They're never bad enough to get a top 10 selection. They're never bad enough. Them and the Ravens have the similar problem, but the Ravens lucked out, All right. The next selection.
You got to remember with Roethlisberger, though, they picked him 9, I think, or in that
11.
area.
11. They dropped him 11.
And everybody thought they overdrafted him. And he turned out to be the best quarterback in that draft. And Jackson, who knows? Jackson Dart might work.
Well, we knew Rodgers, right? Rodgers was drafted 24th, right, or something?
Yep.
I mean, it happens. All right, we got the Chargers with David Robinson.
Yeah. I'm going to give Herbert a weapon, and I'm going to take the wide receiver from Ohio State, Emeka Ibuka.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
Tactician route runner. Sticky.
I was looking at him, hoping he dropped to the second round.
No. He don't get out of the first. No way.
No, he's not going to go first.
No way. No way. He's that good.
Okay, you got the Packers, Craig.
All right. So one of their needs is definitely edge. And I think there's a good value here because we're picking at 23. And Bulldog is still on the board. You got Cal Williams, who I do like. That gives him a nice edge rusher.
What?
Mikhail Williams. He's number 20 on your board there.
You're going to have to realize. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's actually a number of good players available right here for the Vikings and at positions of need for them. They need linebackers, they need safeties, they need offensive linemen, and I like all of these guys on the top 5 there quite a bit. And I'm going to... Who am I going to pick for them? Back-to-back Bulldogs. Starks would be good for them. I actually like Minwari a little bit better than Starks. He just played amazingly down here for South Carolina, and at the combo he had just put up some amazing numbers. So I'm gonna go with Minwari for the Vikings.
Okay. Wow, and it's weird that safeties, are a big need for them. And, the safeties are all on the board. They usually are in the latter part of the first round. Houston Texans, I find them an interesting story. I kind of like teams, except like the Cleveland Browns, who are just congenital morons, right? If I was outside of New York, I'd feel that way about the Jets, just jet moves, stupid moves, just crazy insanity on the Browns. But the Texans, they lose who was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks, in a rub and tug scandal, and they go and they've totally fleeced the Browns, who are just probably the worst organization in football. The Jets are pretty close. Sorry to break your heart, John, but to me, it's the Browns and then the Jets, the two dumbest organizations, right? But the Texans, for them to have improved that quickly when C.J. Stroud, right? And I find it amazing for them. I mean, they got a lot of great draft picks. This is where the Bears should be, right? With all the picks they got from Carolina. But the Houston Texans have improved their team. Of course, it's part of it's hitting on a quarterback, but they were supposed to be they were like the worst team when they got rid of Deshaun Watson. But for them, I was going to go with the best potential offensive lineman. They still need an offensive line, and I'm going to go with the Josh Simmons here.
Yep, you got to remember the Texans also got Willie Anderson in that draft. They had the second and third pick, and they also hit on. I'm not sure if Tank Dell was a rookie, but he came out of nowhere. and became a fabulous receiver as well.
That is true. I'm fascinated by that team. Some teams, like I said, bore me, but I'm pretty impressed at the turnaround in a short period of time. And I was in Texas when all that went down, and I was just listening to Texan radio, Houston Texan radio a lot, and I was intrigued by how angry they were with them. But looks like it was the smart thing to do. Okay, here's another interesting, great team with a fantastic coach, the LA Rams, and that is for
Yes,
David.
they have a number of needs, but I'm going to give them the highest guy on my board, offensive lineman Kelvin Banks from Texas.
I thought
Wasn't he taken already?
he was taken already.
Is he?
He's taking.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, then we're going to go. I must have missed that one. Sorry
I
about
picked
that.
him really early,
Yeah. Did you
relatively
really?
early.
We'll go Tyler Booker.
Okay.
Good pick.
Whoops. I hit Walter Nolan. They got a defensive tackle. I apologize for that.
Mhm.
They needed Walter Nolan. I overruled you. I decided as the commissioner of the ultimate arbitrators and the final decision maker on all things draft, they deserved Walter Nolan. All right. Let's go to the Baltimore Ravens, Craig.
Now, this would be fun in the draft if they pulled this one off. Let's think about this. If Baltimore's quarterback were to go down and was hurt for the season, who's behind him?
Well, I don't even know.
Right?
Tyler
they
Lockett
shit the bed.
still?
No, not Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's the receiver. Tyler, I know who you're thinking about it, but if he were to go down, right? Well, I'm sorry. What's the quarterback's name again? I'm having a brain fart.
It's,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Brain fart. Just a brain fart. If he goes down in preseason practice, first game of the year, tears a knee up, what do you got? You got nothing. All right. They're a pretty stacked team at this point. It would be wild, and I'm not going to make this pick. I'm just saying this could be a wild draft night if they were to take Milrow at this point. And now, because he's not ready to play, he's got at least a couple years, right? You got yourself a bona fide backup that you could even use in packages with Lamar Jackson, which would be absolutely scary, right? And then maybe after 2 years, if Jackson's still humming, you could turn around and flip this guy for a first round pick, and you've had yourself some insurance and protection for a couple of years. They said a lot about Lamar Jackson when he was coming out of the draft that he should have been a wide receiver or a running back. And here we are, two-time MVP. So, but that's not my pick. But
Not
it
Larry
would be
David.
fun to watch
Not
draft
Larry
night.
David. Larry David said the Jets need to pick Lamar Jackson, not Sam Darnold.
Right. He actually called the Jets and said you should pick him, and they laughed at
Yeah,
him.
it's a famous story. He was like,
Yep.
and the greatest thing about Larry David, besides being hilarious, is he had his best friend who had Jets season tickets kill himself because the Jets lost.
Oh, Jesus.
But, to actually position that in a way that's extremely funny, it's a very horrible thing to do. But
It's a horrible thing to do. You're terrible.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But here, so the pick right here, they have a need at safety. They have corner safety and edge rushers, their bigger needs. But to me, this guy just screams, Raven is Malachi Starks.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Something about him. I think he's going to be very good in this league. And that's a good spot for him too. You couple him with Hamilton. Was it Hamilton? The other safety? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
man,
the one from 2 years ago, drafted 2 years ago. Yeah. Kyle Hamilton.
Well, yeah, Hamilton out of Notre Dame. You put these two guys together, that defense just got even scarier.
All right, we have the Detroit Lions, and used to be the most boring team in football, but they've come along. So
They
we've got
used to
that
be the
from.
worst organization in football. Now it's either the Jets or the Browns. I think it's the Jets. Unfortunately.
Have you
Yeah.
watched the Giants?
They've had a bad 10 years, and Mara's been an idiot, but you've got 4 Super Bowls and 5 appearances.
Yeah.
There are still 6 to 8 teams that have never even been in a Super Bowl.
No. Now,
So
I want to pick up on what Craig was talking about with Milrow with the Ravens. I was actually fantasizing this afternoon about Milrow with Justin Fields. Justin Fields and Milrow are basically the same quarterback. And now if you
Yeah.
put them in packages together with the Jets, I think that would be could be interesting. But I'm supposed to talk about the Lions. And the
I like
Lions
that thought, though.
the Lions are a team. My niece has married somebody from Detroit, and so I've started watching the Lions because of my niece's husband and her kids are all Lions fans, and that's a team that's stacked. They really have a good team now. They've completely turned it around, and I I love the idea of Mike Green being teamed up with Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line. I think they could just wreak havoc in the backfield.
Got a great coach, even though didn't he blow it in the championship game 2 years ago, or
Yeah,
like
he did. He takes too many chances, but he's completely turned around the atmosphere on that team. And I thought he was a clown when they first hired him. But again, I was completely wrong on that one. He's been a great coach for them. But I think Mike Green and
I
Aiden
was rooting for
Hutchinson
him. I
together
don't know
would be a great
why. Was he
combo.
on Hard Knocks or something? I saw something where I watched one of his practices, and I was like, "Man, I want this guy to be successful," you know. But I generally root for everybody because I'm a wimp. Um, okay, Detroit Lions. We have the Washington Commanders. I got it right this time, which is I actually watched their season last year with real fascination. And Jaden Daniels comes out to be the top quarterback. And I remember everyone saying he was too skinny and too wiry and how is he going to succeed? And I was just impressed. That was a that was unless he has a sophomore, what do they call that? Sophomore swoon. Um, you know, I don't hate Washington like I hate Dallas and hate the Eagles because Washington has been so pathetic for so long. But I should hate them because they play the Giants. But so when I was looking at this, um, I tried to look at the different edge guys that they had, and I thought, and I'm not perfect with this because I didn't watch enough of it, but I thought James Pierce was better than Nick Scorton, whose name I saw, but to be fair, I saw more of James Pierce. So let's ask my resident expert. Let's turn this question over to my announcer, Craig Perry. Craig, who do you think's better between Pierce and Scorton?
Pierce.
That's what I thought. I don't know
Yeah.
how Nick
There's
Scorton.
something about his technique and the way he moves. It just not
All right.
Scorton doesn't jump off the screen for me, and a lot of draft, just a lot of draft analysis I've watched. There was nobody like wow. I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised he's in the first personally, but
Yeah.
what do I know?
All right, that's how I felt. Okay, so we're turning over. I find this to be interesting. The Buffalo Bills, Dave, you're up.
I'm going to give them some defensive line help. And Talik Williams from Ohio State, defensive tackle. They could have used corner or another wide receiver. I was thinking about Luther Burden, but I'm going to go with Talik Williams.
I wanted him to last for the Jets, but okay. Now we're getting down to the two best teams in football, the Kansas City Chiefs and our announcer, Craig Perry.
So Chiefs, they lost 2 defensive tackles in free agency, so they got to replace those. And there's a guy I'm in love with in this draft, and if he's there in the second round for the Giants, I would run to the podium. But you got to look at Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. He's probably down there on a little bit further, but he just jumps at me. That's a
Walter
shame that they
Nolan?
got him down this. Walter
No, what's his
Nolan,
name?
Nole.
Wasn't he the guy that Mark picked instead of Booker?
Did you pick him? Man,
Yeah,
I
I
missed
think I
that.
picked him. Yeah, because I remember looking him up.
All right. I missed that. So I'm saying there's no way he should not be on this list right here. All right. Fair enough.
Walter
Fair
Nolan.
enough.
I was picked for the.
So
No, that was David picked him. David picked him. Look at David. He's ahead of the
all right.
curve.
All right. I missed that one because I love that kid. I just if he was next to Dexter, I wouldn't hate it. But again, they still have a big need at defensive tackle, losing a couple guys. And I do also love the kid that lined up right next to Mason Graham. So Ken Grant out of Michigan.
You know, I heard so much about that guy. Like, you know, he doesn't play as many downs or whatever.
Right.
They say his motor's not there, but they said he's brilliant. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice.
It makes you wonder, did he make Graham better or did Graham make him better? You don't know, but he's a solid pick. This late in the first round with a big need out of a big program, I would take Grant.
Now, in terms of potential trades, right? If you're the Giants, your probably last shot is Kansas City. If you want to get Jalen Milroe or whatever, because the Browns have to pick a quarterback.
Well, you also got Buffalo. Remember, there's a connection between Shane and the Buffalo GM.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's either Buffalo or Kansas City.
Yeah.
Once you
Philly
get
ain't trading
past
with us.
the Steelers.
Right.
So the potential for a trade or for the Giants making a trade is now dwindling because I mean they're picking within 3 or 4 picks, and I think the Browns are going to, you know, definitely they need a quarterback, right? I mean it's weird that they don't talk about that.
Yeah.
But all right, so for pick 31, what did we say?
Ken Grant.
Ken Grant.
Yeah. Okay.
They lost too many guys in free agency, so they got to backfill.
Yeah. I think we're doing really good. I'm telling you, I think this will be fairly accurate, but I think the thing that we don't have is the trades, which no one can predict. You're out of your mind if you can predict a trade.
No.
If you took the trades out, we'd probably be pretty damn accurate. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles are for John, and I really hate the Eagles now.
I don't hate the Eagles. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I don't hate the Eagles. It's another team like the Lions who are pretty good at everywhere.
Oh, yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and so it's amazing that they can lose a Hall of Fame center in Kelsey, and they just plug somebody in. He's just as good.
Well,
maybe not
it's
Hall of Fame, but
great coach, and they have a fantastic front office.
yep. And so I'm looking at what they have here available, and I think you go with Nick Scorton and just give them another guy to pressure the quarterback to just keep rolling out there.
Well, thank you, John McDermott, for that last pick for the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. And hopefully in the next 5 years, we're either calling out the world champion New York Jets or the world champion New York Giants. My betting money is going to be on Giants reclaiming the throne before the Jets reclaim the throne. With that, I'd like to thank each one of our individual hosts today, and we have Dave Robinson. Thank you, Dave. I'd like to thank John McDermott. John, you're the best. And Craig Perry. And if you want to see and hear our full 7-round mock, you can go to Craig Perry's website. Are you out of your fucking mind? I am a working man and have no time to do this.com. Dave, why don't you take us out with full echo?
Why not?
Get in.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
for now. Enjoy the draft.
Thank you, John McDermott. Did you have
Bye for
fun?
now.
Goodbye for now. Enjoy the draft. It's going to be a blast.
Yes, I had a great time. I'm looking forward to
Enjoy the
doing this
draft,
again next
everybody.
year.
All right, brother. Bye.
Take care.